Welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell, Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Before I get started, I'd like to thank TV47 and Robert especially for all he does to help us put on our program. Today I'm excited. I have some of my friends and neighbors here with me. Eddie and Kathy Varnadore are joining me this morning, and they're going to talk about a recent trip they had to Brazil, a part of Brazil. I know you're glad to be back. Before we talk more about your trip, just tell us about yourselves. Most people probably know you, but go ahead and tell us.
I'm Kathy Varnadore, and actually today marks 33 years that we've been in Sylacauga.
Oh, wow.
So this is definitely home for us. I am a retired DHR social worker and spent most of my time over 21 years in Coosa County, and that's where I retired from.
Good.
And I'm Eddie Varnadore, and most of you may know me as Coach V. Taught 25 years in Sylacauga City System. Was coaching, teaching, and just loved being around this area. And this is home to us right now.
Right. Well, you guys have always been busy, I know, in your work life. And now that you're retired, you're still very busy, I think. Tell us about your trip to Brazil. I mean, where in Brazil did you go?
We went to the northeastern part of Brazil to a little city called Matinha. It's in the state of Maranhão. I have a hard time with all these names.
But I won't know if it's right or not.
Wow. It's on up toward the equator.
Okay.
It was a nice warm trip.
Oh, that's true. Brazil is a huge country.
It is.
Yes.
I didn't realize that. So, yeah. What was the purpose of your trip? Did you go alone, with a group, or?
We went with Shane Hope and Zach Abernathy to meet up with Mike Owen, who is the founder who has Harvest Mission Brazil.
Okay.
And it's a ministry that he's actually been involved in Brazil for 18, 19 years.
Oh, I didn't realize that long.
And he has been a full-time pastor all this time, but it's just been in the last 3-4 years that he decided that it was time to step out and to do this more on a full-time basis. So we went down in support of him to go out into the villages where people have never heard the gospel, and went down and spent a week with him.
Goodness. Now, would you classify these people as an unreached people group? Isn't that kind of the term, unreached people group?
For the most part, yes. They're they still have their culture, and Kathy will talk about that, of witch doctors and all. But yes, they are unreached, but very reachable as well. So we were very fortunate to go into 2 villages that were very open to why we were there, and it was exciting.
Mike's talked about just, you may be going down the road and there's another little road that goes off, and at the end of that road there's a little village, and it's just places nobody knows about these people out there.
They don't have a church or anything like that, or?
There is a denomination that we're familiar with in our country that I don't think it is exactly like what we have here, but they will go into a village and build a building and say they have a church there. Now they may not meet, but
once every 7 or 8 weeks, it may be that long before they have another meeting or service at that church or that building.
But it's a building.
But it is a building.
They do.
Yes.
In fact, in one village, she wanted us to go into their temple, is what she called it. And we went in there, and there were some words on the back wall, and I said, "What's that?" And it said, "Happy Mother's Day." So that had been many weeks before. So I don't know. A lot of it is just the presence of the building to say we have a church there, but there's not actually an active church.
There's not an active ministry or an active church or a pastor or anything.
And see, that was part of our going as well. We partnered with the local church there that Mike attends when he's in Brazil, and their people kind of went along with us, and got out and visited and shared as well, and that was real good. So they're hoping that church, that church will continue to go and visit and meet with these people in these villages.
That's great, and I know that was a difficult trip. I mean, with COVID and airplanes, and COVID is not is pretty bad in Brazil, or they're just several months behind us. I know, but that's exciting. Is this your first trip to Brazil?
Yes.
Yes.
But not your first mission trip.
No. We've been very blessed to we have fallen in love with a group of people in Guatemala.
Oh, yeah.
And been fortunate to visit there many times, and once again going back, seeing those people, they see you, it's reaffirming to them that you are praying for them, that you are that you do care for them. And that's so important, because lots of times people go into an area and they'll never go back. Well, when you go back, you're showing that you truly, truly care for them.
Building those relationships.
Yes, yes.
We had done a lot of in-country trips, and then I retired in January of 2010, and that spring I got my passport in faith that God was going to allow me to go on a foreign mission trip, and I wanted to be ready when it happened. So it was over Labor Day weekend in 2012 that we made our first trip to Guatemala. Wow. And the next 2 years, 2013 and 14, we actually went 3 times a year.
Oh, goodness.
So, yeah.
That's great that you guys do that, I think. Giving of your time. And I know you have more time now that you're retired, but you have a real passion for this.
We
love it.
Yes.
We were able to go to Trinidad with a group of our friends from South Carolina. So we were down there for a week doing Bible school. And so we stayed right in that church and helped their church support their Bible school and did their Bible school for them. And so that was really a neat experience. And we got to go to the Indian Ocean. They took us to this place and we were swimming, but there was a young man from South Carolina who was with us who had never been baptized. He had been saved, but he had never been baptized. So he wanted to be baptized there. So Eddie got to help the pastor go out in the ocean and baptize the young man from South Carolina. So
what a special moment.
We've had a lot son-in-law times with it.
Good times. And
Eddie's been able to go to Africa once too.
Very fortunate to go I went with our son-in-law, Eric Howell, and we went with Dothan First Baptist to Uganda and had a wonderful, great time. Did some sharing, but also there were 2 doctors that went as well. So there was a medical team. And going out into different areas and sharing with them, and one of the local orphanages, we shared and worked with them for a week. And we always come back more blessed than we do for them.
I'm sure you do. That's great. We're going to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Eddie and Kathy.
Things a little bumpy in your driveway? Ox Foundation Solutions has the expertise and the know-how to repair cracks, wet basements and crawl spaces, and uneven floors in your home. Ox Foundation Solutions will come up with the right fix for you. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by and see us today. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room, to surgery, to cancer treatment, to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Eddie and Kathy Varnadore, and we're talking about their recent trip to Brazil. And I forgot the name of the city, but I might not be able
Matinha.
Matinha, Brazil. Well, you had lots of it. You work with children, you work with adults. How did you get to the village, the travel there? I know that's kind of interesting.
Well, from Matinha, to drive to the villages was not far whatsoever.
Okay.
In fact, to Bom Jesus, correct?
Jesus.
Jesus. I say Jesus.
It looks like Jesus
I
to
know
me.
it does. You drive right into the village area.
Right.
But to Monte Cristo, you drive to one spot, and it was a 1.7 mile walk to the village, which was fine. It was fine. It was hot, but you'd go in, and they liked us coming because it rained every evening when we went in. So we got to walk out in the mud and everything. But that was okay too.
And the reason we had to walk in was because of the rains.
Yeah.
And it had made it, you didn't want to take the bus in. We had a little rented bus, and you didn't want to take that in. So there is a road into the village, but it was just because of the rain that
Stuck.
And they're hoping starting next month that their road will get fixed.
they have a road machine rented for next month.
For next month.
All right. Well,
And they're excited about that.
oh, that's
But
right.
usually in the morning time, we'd meet with children, have activities. Kathy always takes great activities, and did the Daniel in the Lion's Den when they had the mask, and did the 4 friends carrying their friend into to see Jesus. Made a mat, weaved that mat, and the children were loving that. And then different recreational activities we'd do too. And then that evening, Mike is very big on sharing Bible stories. And you tell the story. That's how, because they've never heard these things. They've never heard stories that are in the Bible, and about creation and why God created and why man was taken, put out of the Garden of Eden and all. So they listened I felt like I was teaching when we shared, because they were making eye contact with you. It was wonderful, wonderful opportunities.
And we take that for granted
Yes,
so much. I mean,
very
I know my
much
girls
so.
have heard Bible stories, in Sunday school all their lives, but not these children haven't.
Yeah. And we were very fortunate. We got to partner, like I said, with Mike's local church. There were some people that went just about every time. I couldn't remember the daughter's name this morning, but a father and a daughter, Esther, went with us all the time. Very loving young child. Joined in and helped us, and she was able to speak English, so that excited us too, because there they learn English in school. So.
But they speak Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Yes.
Yes.
And do you speak Portuguese?
No.
Maybe a few words here and there, I don't know. But gosh.
Mike and Lori gave us a few words before we went, but that's it.
It doesn't matter. They know you love them.
Yeah, we had very good translators with us, and so that helps.
I always say that your translator has a gift. It has a talent that God has given them, and how they use it. We encourage them to use it. We love on them, because you're dependent on them to translate what you're saying.
Yes.
And they have a big job.
They do.
And we were very fortunate. Had some good translators.
Oh, that's wonderful. Let's look at some of the slides of the activities you were involved in. Oh, this is where you were. That's the state.
Yes, and the bottom right-hand picture is, of course, the country of Brazil. And then the red in that box is the state of Maranhão, and then the little red up at the top is Matinha.
Okay.
So you see.
Oh.
This is in the village of Bom Jesus, and that was rice laying out to dry, and the donkey kind of liked the rice, so we had to drag him away from the rice at one time because he was trying to munch on it. But this is just the area where we worked, and kids are kids.
Yes.
We were going down to an area, and all these kids piled up on that old boat to get their picture made. So this is Maria. Maria is the president of the community of Bom Jesus.
Okay.
Very organized, but She is a descendant of the Quilombola people who were slaves in Brazil. They were descendants of the Afro-Brazilian slaves who escaped the slave plantations that existed in Brazil until they were freed in 1888. Brazil was the last country to free slaves. And so this was actually on a working plantation where this is, and there had been a lake there. Oh. And she's telling us, the first morning we went in there, we got a history lesson of the Quilombola people and their particular village. That was one of our translators standing there.
Here's the walk. Walking in to Monte Cristo. And like I said, that's the road. Coming out, it didn't look like that because there was water everywhere, but going in, that's the way it was. Like I say, Hope Abernathy, and you see her husband Shane in the back sharing the story. And very, very, like I say, the people listening so intently, and she did
one of our
a great
translators
job.
there.
Yeah, Sammy, that's one of our translators. Here, look, if you can't see what Shane, and that's Zach, their son, Hope and Shane's son, he has a knife in his hand. And it is a real knife. When he pulled that out.
I know this story.
Yes. So you know, when he pulled that out, the people gasped. They were wondering. But he told the story and what
of Abraham and being willing to sacrifice his son Isaac.
And so that was tremendous. Precious children.
These, some of these pictures in here, we had a lady, well, it's actually our youth pastor's mother, Brian Hibbs' mother, who lives in Kentucky, and she made a lot of these little dresses, just sewed little skirts on.
Yes.
And so she wanted to see pictures of the girls in their dresses, and so that's what we got them to, but they're precious children.
They are, those pretty smiles.
I know, they're so sweet.
Kids are kids, though, like you said, everywhere.
This is the group from Sycamore that came after us. That's Lisa McGrady, her daughter-in-law Haley, and Jessica Roberts. And they have been they came the week after us, and they went to a different village in Santa Helena, and they have actually been going there since 2016 to this same village.
My director, Tracy Thomas at the library, has been.
Yes, Tracy was in this group. Yeah.
Oh, just talks about those people, and she just loves them.
That was just in the village, the three little pigs.
Well, there's the story. We had a book.
Yeah. And then the soccer field and the donkeys that were on the soccer field with them. I mean, they're just out there.
Donkeys just wander.
Yeah.
I get.
Look at those little faces.
And you see one's got a sucker in their mouth. They love candy just like we love candy. So
that's in the background. You can see that's their church there.
Yeah.
The blue building.
That's what that is back there.
This is our group. This us and Mike and our translators, and plus one of the translators, Frank, his girlfriends. Wonderful people. And Daniel and the Lions.
That's the mask.
That's it. That's the mask. And you know, Mike was telling us says they will have those masks from now on. And about 2 days later, when we went into the village, there was one wearing his mask as we were coming.
Oh my goodness!
So they do. They hold on to the little things.
They're very
remembering.
Very poor, I guess you would say, or.
Well, yes, but no. They're rich in other ways too. They still have many things that they have, and they welcome you into their home. In fact, I walked up to one's home or his house, and he said, "Come in, look." He wants us to look at what inside. So it's
very accepting of
very,
people,
very accepting.
Maybe from anywhere, but from the United States.
Yes.
Mike said when he was introducing us to Maria, said that they had been trying to make this happen for a couple of years, and so Mike has had contact with them, and so she was very welcoming to us and made sure everybody was around or we were there when the kids could be there. And,
Well, I guess they all know Mike.
Yes.
And they have a relationship with him, and so if you come with him, I'm sure you're good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Because he's watched several of these children grow up. He would say, "I remember when she was so, how old or whatever, so tall, and how they're growing up."
Wow. That's great. We're going to pause for another commercial break and we'll be right back.
Things a little bumpy in your driveway? Ox Foundation Solutions has the expertise and the know-how to repair cracks, wet basements and crawl spaces, and uneven floors in your home. Ox Foundation Solutions will come up with the right fix for you. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by and see us today. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Eddie and Kathy Varnadore about their recent trip to Brazil. Now, you talked a little bit about, you showed a lady who is not the mayor, what was
President.
she? The president. How is their city life and everything a lot different from ours? Witch doctors and things like that?
Well, the Quilombola people are still fighting to have their communities officially recognized, and they still are subject to having their land taken away from them. So she was very organized, and the last night we were there had all kind of charts and maps where she was using to, I guess, present their case to the government or whatever to try to be able to hold on to their land. But there are witch doctors in the communities, and we did not know, in fact Mike did not know, and he's worked with Maria, that until after we left, that her husband is the witch doctor for the community.
Oh.
And so that was
so different.
That was just a really strange thing, but
A lot of differences in our culture here.
oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yes.
there.
Yeah, there it is. It's, the people, once again, they're very loving and caring and all, but that witch doctor has so much influence upon the community, and that's something that they're fighting. I shouldn't say they're fighting, but they're having problems with, because we noticed that one child that was involved with everything, doing everything we were doing, so excited, and then the last day we noticed she was distancing herself from us, and that was her grandfather. That's the witch doctor. We're afraid
didn't
that
know what had happened.
he had said something. We don't know. We don't know, but we're afraid that he had said something because she was joining in too much.
And that was at the point when the gospel was being presented. And plus she had also had a place on her leg, and she was complaining about it, and we looked at it and stuff. So when we went back that afternoon, we had some medicine for her, and so we didn't know if that played into it or just what.
Yeah.
So it was.
Well, I tell you, when I hear about having to walk in and the rain and the heat and all that, why do you go? That's a big question, I know.
Well, for me, I read something here recently. It said, what if Christ had said, I'm comfortable right here. Everything's fine right here. I don't want to go. I don't want to leave this. I don't want to leave all this. But he left. He left it. He left his father and came. And he went out. He walked. He walked.
Yes.
He shared. He laughed. He cried. And but he reached the people. And he's told us, now, it's your turn. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out and go.
In between the time that I got my passport and I was able to go, we had visited with his sister in Georgia and gone to church with her, and the pastor preached on this type of thing that day, and I'll always remember this. He said that we have a tendency to say, I'll say no till God says go, when it should be, I'll say go till God says no.
Oh, yes. I have to think about that.
Yeah,
Goodness.
so we want to say we'll go until God says no.
Well, I'm so glad that there are people like you who are retired and spending your time trying to help others. That's an awesome thing to do. And I know you have plans to go back. Are you very receptive to that? To go?
Very much so, yes. Lord willing, we'll go back.
Great. And if you wanted to find out more, it's Harvest Mission Brazil.
Yes.
Is that correct? They have
Yes.
a Facebook page, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
And a website.
Oh, okay, a website. Well, great. Well, just for the next few minutes, what are some of the other challenges you face? We talked about the language, having to have a translator, traveling on bus. I mean, we're used to air-conditioned cars and highways, and there you had.
The bus was air
The
conditioned.
bus
Oh,
was air conditioned, but the road, we complain about our roads, potholes. Going in with that first night, we couldn't see. I didn't know what our driver why he was weaving in and out so much, but potholes everywhere, and he couldn't go through them.
Yeah.
Of course, COVID made things more difficult with having to, everybody has to fly into Sao Paulo, which is the capital, instead of there are other ways, shorter ways to get there.
Okay.
And you had to have a mask on from the time you walked into the first airport until you got out of the last one. And so that included the overnight flight when you were trying to sleep some. And so that made it difficult. And people, one of the things I was most concerned about before I ever went was, am I going to be able to eat anything? And
yes.
the food, and if I've managed it, anybody can manage it. And Mike would go every morning and get fresh bread for us, and it was so good, and fresh fruits and juices and lots of beans and rice, but food was not an issue. Of course, we always have our snack bag with us, so we'll make sure we've got some crackers.
See, I always get in trouble because I like to buy stuff off the street as well. So.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes, I shouldn't do that, but I felt like I'd been on my mission trip when we had to stop. There was road construction. There was a little man selling stuff on the side, walking by, and Kathy saw him and pointed out the window. So we got to come back. It's cashews and fresh coconut patties, and they were wonderful.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So it's
Well,
neat.
I am so glad there are people like you who are able to do this and want to do this, want to share Christ. I mean, that's at the heart of it, I think.
Amen.
And we did see people come to
Yes.
know Jesus while we were
did.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should have asked about the results. That's great.
The
That is-
results were wonderful. Were wonderful.
Well, I know you'll stay in touch with Mike and hear about these people again. I just appreciate you being here, taking time, and I appreciate you joining us on Library Connection. And go to Harvest Mission Brazil website and look at the type of things that they have going on in Brazil. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me on Library Connection.